So I have some bad news.
What?
The title of America's top DEI podcast is already taken. Yes, it's been taken by Pumps and Jen from the I've Had It podcast. So I've changed it to New York's top DEI podcast because they're based in Oklahoma.
New York, we love you.
Do we? um, Hello, everybody, and welcome to Holding Space with Z and Lee. You're right, babes.
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's the weather has picked up in New York City, and it makes everyone a lot nicer, including me.
Yeah.
And where would I want to choose but with you to spend my summer's days?
Our one day off,
Saturday,
with beautiful weather. You can see the light, and we're inside. But I love it.
Love it. 'Cause we're here with all of you that are tuning in. Okay, so holding space
Yeah.
for
The matriarch.
the
There we go.
matriarch,
The matriarch.
the mother of all episodes is what I'm probably going to call this.
Okay.
I hopefully will call it that.
Yeah.
But today is Mother's Day. This episode is not going out on Mother's Day, but it did create a thought in Z's head about basically having a mother's episode.
Yeah. Introducing you to our relationships with our mothers, to our mothers in a way through us, and just kind of getting into a little bit more of our family dynamic. Because that is one of the reasons why we wanted to have this podcast, was to kind of talk about our different family dynamics and how they've shaped us, what they look like now with politics, all of that stuff, all the different conversations we're having and whatnot. So this is kind of our first little intro into that.
I feel like you have more to say about this than me, so I'll just talk about my mom real quick.
Okay.
My mom is a fat cow.
Shit.
I'm joking, Vanessa. I love you very much. Me and my mom, I would say we are good friends.
Okay.
Like, we haven't always been that way, and there are things that happened in our relationship. I didn't speak to my mom for 5 years, and I would say that it's one of the best things that ever happened because it really changed the dynamic of our relationship. And what that means is now that we are super, super close in a way that we weren't before.
Okay.
I regard my nan, my mother's mother, as, or as you Americans say, grandmother, as my mother.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm really happy to do this episode because whenever I get a chance, anyone that knows me, who's close to me, knows that I bring up my nan a lot. And so it's an opportunity to talk about her, which I love.
What do you love about her?
My
Dive
grandmother.
into it. Let's hear.
Do you know what? I think my nan, and I feel like this is what most people say about their grandparents, similar to when people say, look at my baby picture. Aren't they the cutest, sweetest baby you've ever seen? So I think it's the same thing. But my nan was the sweetest, cutest person you've ever met.
Yeah.
She was born in Jamaica. She came to the UK during the 40s. 60s. 60s. The 40s. She would be like 100 years old by the time I was born. Anyway, yeah, so she came to the UK in the 60s and obviously built a life there. And the reason why I considered her to be my mother is because I lived with my nan Monday to Friday from the ages of 7 years old to 18. And so, you know, if you could imagine, even when my mum was over, if I had fallen down and cut myself, I'm running to my nan to be like, oh my God, you know, and my nan was very maternal. So she would be like, do all the motherly things.
Yeah.
We'll kiss it better, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas if I went to my mom and said, I've fallen down, I cut myself, she'd be like, you know where the plasters are. Why are you telling me? You know, or Band-Aid. Yeah, I do miss her a lot. Like, I miss her cooking. I miss her jokes. I miss her laugh. She had like this infectious, loud laugh, which I loved. I miss being told off by her as well. Like,
How long has it been since she passed?
She died in 2022. It's been and I do miss her a lot.
Yeah.
Like I think that like even when good things happen in my life, I still think to want to reach out to her and message her about it or call her because she was awful with text message. And so like I think that it's definitely left a big hole in our family. Our family dynamic has completely changed since she passed away.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just have those people in a family that are like the glue, and she definitely was that for us. And so, it's always lovely to talk about her because I don't think there isn't a week that goes by that I don't think about her at some point. And, you know, if you want to go deeper, sexuality she didn't have a problem with. She always accepted me for being who I am. When I ran down the stairs and I had her wig on, her heels, like she never batted an eyelash to be like, well, that's my grandson. And that's what he likes to do. He likes to put the wig on. And so I think growing up and understanding that not everybody has that made me appreciate her a lot more. And you know, she's one of those people that you would use the phrase like, you know, 1 in a million. So yeah.
Do you have a favorite memory thinking
Oh my God.
back on life?
Do you know what? I think that the memories that I have are all of the small little moments that happen. So it's like her being on the telephone, the landline, and I'm sitting at the top of the stairs while she's gossiping about different family members
listening
and listening in. And then at a certain age, I got to the point where I could talk to her about the gossip as well. So I definitely missed that because I learned so much about my family through my nan, like all of the things that shouldn't be said. Like I feel like because we were so close, like if we were going to shopping on the weekends or something like that, we would use that bus ride for her to kind of like update me, just not just on her, but also like what her and my granddad's relationship was like, what their marriage was like, some what her regrets were, if she would do things differently. You know, she told me that before she met my granddad, she was thinking that she would be with somebody else. And the whole family encouraged her to be with that person. So I don't know if that was the one that got away. But she's not here, so I can spill all her tea. Thank you, darling.
I'm just throwing a shoe down at you right now.
And so I miss her a lot.
Yeah. And then what about your dad's mom? Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean we weren't as close.
Okay.
I used to stay at her weekend. I used to stay at her house some weekends when my dad would come and pick me up every other weekend. My mum and dad have always been separated for as long as I can remember. And so on his weekends, sometimes he would make me stay with my grandmother, which I always look forward to because she had the best snacks, best food. Her house was huge. And, you know, she took me to the carnival a couple times because my birthday is always the last weekend in August, which is when carnival is in London. And I think that we didn't have as a close relationship, but I definitely felt like I was her favorite grandchild.
Love that.
I feel like I was everybody's favorite grandchild.
I feel the same way.
Because I think I was, of all my cousins and siblings, I was the one that actually took school semi-seriously and came out with grades that they could tell their friends about. And my cousins were always figuring it out and still are figuring it out.
Nice way to put it.
Yes. I'm English after all.
Gossip. Let's get into the gossip of the family now. Well, that's beautiful that you had great relationships with both.
I did. My grandfather too. My granddad as well. I had a good relationship with my grandparents. I feel like I was very lucky to have them in my life. Okay, Z, shall we dive into the history of the Stoners?
Sure.
Okay, so tell me a little bit why you wanted to have a Mother's episode aside from it just being Mother's Day.
Yeah, so I have a really good relationship with my mom, so that's part of the allure there. And then also both my grandmas have passed within the past 2 years, 1.5 years. So I've just been doing a lot of reflecting, and I was like, wait, we should talk about this and talk about kind of some of the pieces that I've been putting together in terms of the legacy of grandmas. So my dad's mom passed like maybe 2, 3 weeks ago. And as I was kind of processing, um, I realized that she was like kind of why I'm here. She's part of the reason why I'm here. Because of her creativity that like fed into my young self. She would, yeah,
Creative how?
she would like make our Halloween costumes. Like I would always dress up at her. Like she had a room that was for dressing up. Like it was like, there's dolls everywhere. There's princess stuff everywhere. So it's like a room to become something else, right? And so there was that. Always good food, always, always TV on, always movies on, always whatever. And then like having her also sew costumes specifically for us, or find creative ways to do Halloween, to do whatever. Also decorating. A big portion of what she did was like flip rooms and hand paint things. And um she turned my brother and my's room into this like log cabin theme when we were young. So we had bunk beds, and she sewed a tent and like made it like look like we were sleeping in a 2-floor tent, put up like, the canvas around the bed and whatnot. She painted like logs, hand painted logs on the wall. So it looked like a log cabin. Our dressers were hand painted murals of like log cabin, stream, flowers, bear, fish jumping, like all of this stuff, like just like to the T, had details thought out, painted. Like she reupholstered chairs so that it was like a plaid that was on the chairs so that it looked, again, matched the
Super cool.
curtains in the room. Like it just, every detail that was just kind of one of her passions.
That's super cool. Do you have a favorite costume that she made you?
My mind immediately goes to this like wizard costume when I was a kid, and she had this ginormous purple like oversized shirt, dress, converse, like kind of thing. And she spray painted this sparkly finish to it, so it was all glittery. And then I had this like beard, probably a Santa Claus beard, that she sewed onto a wizard hat that lit up. I think I had a wand that glowed in the dark. She did like little shoe covers so that I had the little
Detailed.
like the little,
So detailed.
I did a little curtain,
Yeah.
like a curtain, tasseled curtain, rope
Mm-hmm.
that it was my belt.
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
just like everything to the T. So like,
Abracadabra.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, and then she grew up. So part of the like flipping of rooms and spaces, she grew up not so super wealthy by any means, and so her mom, I believe it was her mom, would take her around the lake in our town, and basically that was where all the rich people lived. So they would go on trash day to the lake and pull out old furniture
Mm.
and fix it up.
Yeah.
And so she kind of like grew up kind of making magic out of nothing. And so like I think her like DIY spirit came from that.
Yeah.
And that was definitely passed down because my apartment is my passion project. So
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can finally understand where you get a lot of that from, because don't get me wrong, like I know your mom's an amazing cook.
yeah,
But when I met her, it didn't link necessarily
yeah,
on why you are the way you are. And so to kind of get to kind of get a little bit more understanding on
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
yeah. Yeah, grandma's definitely the creative. Both grandmas, honestly, are the creative side of me. My dad also passed down some of the handyman logic. My mom is the heart.
So I would
Uh,
love, I mean, obviously I've met your mother
Yeah.
and you guys are so close.
yes.
And I would love to get an understanding of just how that has happened. Obviously, I've said that my mother is more of a role model to me,
Yeah.
but wasn't necessarily the mother in my life.
Yeah.
Looking at the relationship that you have with your mother,
Mm.
I can tell that is very much not the case, and
Yeah.
she is that person for you. So I'd love to know how that relationship transpired.
Yeah. So basically, my mom and I like I think I've always been a mama's boy for sure. So that's definitely been like ingrained in me for a long time. However, when I started coming out and whatnot, like that became a little bit more of a battle. Just in terms of like trying to explore like what is Christianity, how does Christianity link up with this, with queerness, um, self exploration, like what I wanted to explore to confirm how my both my parents wanted to like kind of make sure that they were treating the situation correctly. Um, so in college, I remember having a conversation with my mom. So my mom, real quick, works for organization that offers like one of their offerings is an STI testing kind of clinic, and so I believe there would be conversations around gay men within that space. So it's a Christian organization, so gay men coming in is kind of one of those conversations that's a little uncomfortable for the Christian organization. And so wanting to use some of my perspective and my mom and my's relationship to understand how to cater to that customer or client that's coming in to have STI testing. So in college, there was a moment where my mom was asking me some detailed questions about sex life. And I don't remember if I said this out loud or if this is an internal thing, but basically me saying like, if you're asking me the question, I'm going to give you the truth. If you don't want, you know, you're not going to like the answer, then don't ask the question. Otherwise, I'm going to lie, and we don't want that. Like neither of us want to have an ingenuine relationship. So I think that in college, having that sort of defining moment of like, okay, moving forward, if you ask the question, I'm answering like actually from my perspective. I may phrase it like in a more PC terminology just so it's it's still my mom. But I think that opened the door for like all conversations can now be discussed because slowly we're entering this like honesty, genuine space. And so that's definitely where I think it kind of started to switch over in terms of like it wasn't like yes, my mom is still my mom, but it became more of a confidant sort of situation, less of like I have to listen to everything that you say, I'm figuring it out, so let's discuss it together. So yeah, so it started there and then has developed um further in with my parents' separation and my mom being able to just kind of ask herself questions and have to process things on her own. And that's kind of allowed us to have more open discussions on everything under the sun. So even if we don't agree on things, like we're still like we love each other so much. And I am like literally a majority of her when it comes to like heart and empathy and whatnot, that like we can understand where each other are coming from, knowing who we are separately. And that makes it really beautiful to be able to like
Mhm.
have deep conversations, have hard conversations, and maybe learn something about the other side of the political spectrum, the belief spectrum, whatever it may be, and to meet kind of as like a bridge
Mhm. I think
moment.
it's beautiful when parents and kids are able to grow old together because
Mhm.
that's, I speak to a lot of parents who are my friends with young kids, and they're like, I can't wait until I can just have like a normal conversation with
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah.
And so it's great when I think Oprah said it like one point in your child's life, you are the manager,
Yeah.
and then you move to being the advisor. And
Yes.
some parents don't want to move to being the advisor, which
Mm.
creates the conflict.
Yeah.
But if you are able to have that kind of relationship with them, then it's great.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely is. Definitely is a fun little time.
But in the most loving way,
Yeah.
I'd probably say a lot of my personality is from my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, because I always thought my mom was amazing. Like as much as I didn't see her as like mother, I thought that the woman that I saw growing up was just like a badass. She was very like, don't
Mm.
take shit, had a really amazing job. I saw how she treated her boyfriends, and it was
Mm.
very like, if you're not going to do what I'm asking you to do, then you can go. And like, even I know this to be true because with my first boyfriend,
Mm.
I used to have a bad habit of when I got angry, I would start getting loud and shout a lot. And I realized that that came from me looking at how my mom dealt with issues with her
Mm.
boyfriend. Because there was one point I was like, I have no idea why I'm actually shouting right now. And I was like,
Interesting.
where's that
Yeah.
from? I was like, oh, that's from my mom because I used to see her getting into fights with her significant other.
Mm.
And I guess some of that is learnt behavior.
Yeah.
But like in terms of me being able to be in, when I got my first job at Harper's Bazaar and Vogue, I was the only Black guy there, and I think me being able to be comfortable in those environments was because of my mom.
Okay.
Like, she very much was not in the sense of sitting me down and saying, you deserve to be in any space.
Yeah.
But more just me seeing her confidence in being in any space didn't make me feel like the same didn't apply to me. I felt like it absolutely did. And also, she was very good at assimilation without losing her personality
Okay.
and her points of view, her morals and all of that. Like, she would have a set of friends that were all Cockney, and she would have that accent. And she would have a set of friends that were all Jamaican, and then she'd have that accent. Then I saw her at work, and then she sounded like she was given birth by Queen Elizabeth. Like, so it's like she was very good at assimilation. And I think I had a little bit of that growing up.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my personality, as much as I've tried to fight it, is from my mother. Like, whenever all my friends who see my mom together, they're like, "Oh my God, you two are the same person."
Well, I love that you have like you had her as a role model to like see as a strong human.
Yeah.
And are able to like apply that as a grown individual yourself.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Obviously, there are things that I still have taken on, and there are things that I've said that's not quite right for me. But generally, I think that she absolutely was a role model for me. I think that in some ways she changed, though, before she had my sister.
Okay.
Her personality changed quite a lot. And I think that's when a lot of the division between us came, because she's entitled to, as a adult woman, to change her career, change her friends, and all of that kind of stuff, which is what happened.
Okay.
But I think somewhere in my mind, I sort of was like, I don't recognize you. And as I got older and I'd reinvented myself many times, I have now respect for her choosing to do that.
Yeah. I think we often forget that our parents are people. You know what I mean? Like, we see them as a parent role, as a parent.
100%. It's like
in a movie.
It's like, the example is like when you get older and you realize that your teachers were people as well.
Yeah.
And like, you can like pinpoint the time when they came in hungover.
I don't know if I ever had that. Damn.
I'm like, oh, the TV's out again. Okay, you are. You are.
I do remember seeing an intern? Teachers? I don't know if it's
Teacher
intern?
assistant.
Teacher assistant? Yeah. Do you remember seeing her thong one time and being like,
yeah, you wear a thong? I know. You get old and you
but I
like,
was obsessed with her. So.
these people are people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hear that. Go on.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting to like have that realization that your parents are people, and not like this like aloof, or not aloof. This like higher, this like higher being,
unobtainable creature, kind of like godlike almost.
Yes,
but also I don't think that's always our fault, because they believe by being a parent they're not supposed to expose that side of them.
Yes.
So sometimes for some kids, that's only what I've known of you. So when you then decide, when I get to a teenager or whatever, that you now are going to show your humanity by being reckless, that's hard for some people. That's hard for some people to, for some kids to process.
That makes sense.
Deep or dumb. Moving on to Deep or Dumb. And so I thought it would be, I feel drowsy. I thought it would be a interesting, fun way to move on from our previous topic to just talk about mothers within pop culture.
Yeah.
And I guess who you consider to be a mother. I know that word is thrown around. Everyone's a mother when they co-opt. Even straight people say mother now.
Do they?
Yeah. That's what happens.
Giving mother.
I have to say, it's the white gays. They take it and then they bastardize it, and then suddenly they're straight
Yeah.
girlfriend starts saying mother and slay. And then suddenly you have Gigi Hadid and Bella Hadid and Kylie Jenner on the red carpet saying, slay mama.
Kylie Jenner, right? Jenner? Anyway.
Anyway,
yeah. I mean, but that happens with all.
does it?
Yes.
Does it?
Yes, it does.
I feel like we need to
All
gatekeep
culture.
gay culture a lot more.
You can't with social media.
Yes, you can. We can gatekeep it. We have to say, that's not okay for you to say. I know, you'll then be called woke.
Girl. Girl. Also, pick your battles.
I know, I hear that. It's true, right?
Pick your
We've got
battles.
so many at the moment. I feel like a
Me too.
Pokemon.
Yeah. Just popping up. Just popping up a little ball. Lordy.
Yeah.
Okay, who's your favorite? Do you have
Mother.
do you have a pop
Do I have a
mother
pop
that you
like
love?
Mother. 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 Do you know what? It used to be Naomi Campbell.
Okay. Not anymore. What happened?
I plead the fifth. This is a positive podcast.
She doesn't want to be canceled at the beginning of this podcast because Naomi heard.
So it used to be Naomi. I don't know. I confused mother and being a big fan of. So I was a big fan of Naomi. I am a big fan of Mariah Carey. And
Is she mother? Are they
I guess
mother?
RuPaul is mother.
Yeah.
But like, not for me. I'm not a drag queen. Do you have to be a drag queen for it to be considered mother?
No, not at all.
I guess I would look at RuPaul. Yeah, okay, fine.
RuPaul.
Okay. Let's try again. Okay. I would
Okay.
look at the mothers are the people that you would say are the origin of any genre, right? So therefore,
Yeah.
RuPaul, as much as he's not the first drag queen,
Mm.
he is somebody that has pioneered drag into the mainstream. Donna Summers really pioneered disco music.
Yeah.
Right? Aretha Franklin
Mm-hmm.
really pioneered soul music. Okay. Technically Anna Wintour. Technically.
Yeah.
What do you want to call her demon?
No.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I would never, Anna. Just in case you were wondering.
You want a job. But
I was just thinking by way of
what she's done.
Andre. But
is Andre more mother than Anna?
No. I just think Anna uses resources to be mother.
See.
More so
than I call her mother because like I do believe that she helped people like John Galliano and Alexander McQueen.
100%.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like as much as like she is a flawed person. I was looking for polarizing.
I love that this stutter came for person.
She's trying her best, okay?
She's a strong woman.
She's strong,
she's giving
black
woman.
No, I think that she is. I think people like Cicely Tyson, Viola Davis to a certain extent.
Okay.
Because I think that she is going to be mother to a whole generation of new actresses.
Yes.
Madonna. Cher. The Queen.
Yeah. I love all that.
That's my thinking behind mother, but I don't know if I have anybody that I'm like, I don't, there's no one that
choose.
Yeah, they say slay my mama.
I would definitely say RuPaul is one of those that like I consider mother.
How's your head?
No complaints. Stupid. And then also like Miss Weasley, Mama Weasley.
As in,
like, I'm thinking of iconic mothers,
right?
Like actual mothers. Also,
you
like,
didn't brief me properly on this.
Pop. That's part of it.
Okay.
Right? Yes, pop mothers, right? So yes, pop divas, pop mothers is a part of this, right? But then the other part of it is like iconic mothers in film or in different roles that you get to see them as play mothers. And are there iconic moments that you have?
So hit me.
So like Mama Weasley. Iconic mother. A little.
Not my.
Yes.
You bitch.
Not my daughter, you bitch. The best little sum up of fighting in a long time.
Okay. Next.
Actually, I wanted her to kind of whoop Bella's ass a little bit more. But
I didn't like the fact that Lestrange died, but that's another opposite topic for another day.
Fair. There should have been some more battles at least.
100%.
But the point is, we all felt that mother moment, right? Like where she's protecting her children,
Offspring.
offspring. I don't remember which specific child
Ginny.
she is. Yeah, okay, we'll care. So that's one moment. What's another moment? Oh, the mom from Sex Education. I don't remember her name in the show. You haven't watched it, so anyway,
I do know it's Ginny Anderson. Gillian Anderson.
Jillian, yes, I love. First of all, that actress is great.
Love
But
her.
that I love that role of hers, because she's so like intellectual and forward thinking, that the way that she talks to her son is like so open and matter of fact, and I love the space that she created for her son to
She
exist.
held space for her son.
She held space
Yes.
for her son,
Yes.
so I love that. Also, the Easy A Parents with Emma Stone. Did you
Oh, I
watch
have
that?
seen that, but I don't remember the parents.
I think maybe it's more so her dad, but the parent dynamic in that moment, or in that movie, is also very cute, where her parents are kind of like joking, a little bit more adult humor, a little more advanced humor, but like to Emma Stone,
Okay.
and having like, again, allowing space for Emma's character to like be a teen and like not like jumping, like
I love this. You
jumping
really
down
love
the
a
throats.
coming of age moment.
I do.
Yeah.
It's nostalgic.
It's nostalgic and
lessons learned.
lessons learned. Can I add to that list? I want to
Yeah.
add Mummy Dearest. Have you seen that film?
Yes. Okay.
Definitely.
Interesting.
Trying to sweep the poor little widow under the carpet. Think again. Don't fuck with me, fellas. I mean, yeah, that's for me. I mean, that's one of my favorite films.
No way.
Yeah. It's one of the most campiest
Oh my god.
films that I've ever seen, and I love it.
Wow.
Yeah,
I would have never expected that.
I love that film.
Never.
And then the other one that I wanted to add to my list is not for me because it's not really my thing, but Judy Garland. I feel like she's mother for the gays, for a lot of older gays.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think of like, are you a friend of Judy? That's what it is. Are you a friend of Judy expression? Like,
What does that mean?
so back in the day, when I think it was when
Oh, Judy's and John's. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Okay, forget that.
I think it was when Wizard of Oz came out, and the gays were had to still be undercover. They would say like, "Are you a friend of Judy's?" And that was like to signify like,
I am a homosexual.
yes. But also, if you look at the Wizard of Oz, her uncles, like the guys that are on the farm, are like all gay.
Gay.
They're very gay. Even in the like, not as the Lion, as the Tin Man, as the Scarecrow, they are actually very homosexual vibes.
I need to rewatch that film. It's now on HBO Max.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to do my trifecta of figuring out the confusifying moments in Wicked.
Confusifying.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, Judy is definitely a mother, for sure.
Okay.
I love it.
Anyone else you'd like to add to your list, or shall we move on, darling?
I feel like there's other people, but
There's always going to be other people, darling.
no. Those are the ones that come to mind.
So, moving on to the last part of this show, and I'm sure you're all familiar with Dizzy and Lee. And just to say, it'd be great if you guys could start writing in to holdenspacepod@gmail.com, because I'm tired of my friends saying to me, "Why are you spilling my tea on your show?" So, Dizzy and Lee.
My friend group planned a birthday dinner without me and then posted about it. When I asked why, they said I'd been too negative lately. I'm heartbroken and confused. Should I confront them or let it go?
Well, these aren't your friends. These aren't your friends. Am I reading this wrong?
No.
They had a birthday dinner. So it sounds like there was many people that were at this dinner. It doesn't sound one-on-one. It doesn't sound like it was them and their family.
Yeah.
It says they planned a birthday dinner without me, and they said to me, "You've been too negative lately."
That's why you weren't invited.
That's why you weren't invited. For me, if I had a negative friend, that wouldn't be the reason why I didn't invite them to my birthday.
Yeah.
There would have to be some steps.
Yeah.
Meaning that, have I ever mentioned this to them before?
Mm-hmm.
If I have, can I have a conversation with them and say, if you're coming, I'm really going to need some positivity from you?
Yes.
If they've chosen to do none of that, these people are not your friends. They might as well have said, we didn't invite you because we don't like you.
That's true. That's very true. I think when I read this earlier, I didn't catch the part that it was like, I don't think
What did you think
I don't
originally?
think I caught
Don't let me sway your opinion.
No, I don't think I caught the you've been negative.
Right.
I don't think I caught that. I think that was like,
what was your initial
so I was
thought?
just like, they just didn't invite you, and then I'm like, then yes, absolutely bring it up to them and be like, bitches, what the fuck?
Right.
Because then I was like, okay, maybe they had some other like reasoning, like they thought you weren't available or something like that. But like, this is like a whole different motive. They said, bitch, we don't want you there.
And also, like, I don't know, if I had a friend that I didn't want to invite because they were negative, if I'm telling them that I'm not inviting you because you're negative, to me, the relationship is over. Because I could have found any other reason, like I only had 9 slots, I'm closer to blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, you're negative, you're not coming. Yes, I do happen to be that blunt and straightforward. But if I'm saying that to somebody that I think is a friend, the relationship is over, or we're one step away from the relationship being over.
Yeah. I mean, I also think of like, the way that seems like you're not actually friends already. Yeah.
It sounds like you asked as well why I'm not invited.
Yeah. But it also doesn't, like, I'd be interested to know, like, how close they think they are with these people. Because from the sound of it, you're not close at all. You're the person that, like, gets invited by like, being close to somebody in the group, but not everybody. You know what I mean?
Babe, they said you're too negative. So it's not even, we're not close friends. We actively don't like you.
I'm curious what they, like, this person's perspective
I think this person, like, no shade, I don't know who asked you this, and I'm here to be honest, but I think this person is delusional. Who did this come from? Oh, sorry.
Lee is spilling a friend's tea without even knowing he's spilling a friend's tea right now.
This person's delusional. I don't know. I told you, I feel very lightheaded. I think this person's delusional. I'm so sorry. Like, I think that, like, these are not your friends. I think that, like, the fact that you sending this question in tells me that you're still not accepting it. Like, what am I going to tell you that's any different from them? Like, the fact that they have all these friends going without you, then all the other friends also think you're negative. So I think perhaps, proactively try and be a little bit more positive. Maybe meditate in the morning. Before you get out of bed, think 5 positive things in the morning before you get out of bed.
I mean, maybe you are too negative, but also maybe you're the perfect amount of negative and you just need other friends that think the way you do.
I think the question should have been, I'm too negative. What can I do to change it? Because I'm losing my friends. That's the question. We're answering the wrong question here.
No, but you could also have other friends that have similar, like...
Would you write this question if you had other friends?
No. What I'm saying is, you have the wrong friends. Meaning that you don't need to change yourself, you need to find other friends that maybe have a similar perspective as you. Like, if you're the Eeyore,
where do you
find some other Eeyores.
Where do you find the negative people?
I don't know.
Does anyone really like to be around negative people unless they're an incel?
Maybe.
Or on conspiracy
Well, I'm also
websites?
curious, like, we don't have any context in terms of, like, what does the negative look like? Somebody could be like...
I don't want you at my birthday.
But somebody could be like, your jokes are too blunt, and therefore that's negative.
That's a good reason, because what I'm taking from behind that is that you're offensive, and so I don't want you at my birthday because your jokes are not funny. I know you're trying to find a caveat to help this person, but in my opinion, they sent in the wrong question. I think this question is your problem. Like, you're not willing to accept...
We're about to get shut down immediately. I'm just kidding.
You're not willing to accept the fact that you are negative, and you're hoping that you're going to send this question in and we're going to sit there, maybe Z's sitting there, but I'm certainly not going to sit there and be like, they were wrong. They should have really brought you along because you're a great person. You're not.
Lee has some conviction, so I think he figured out who the person was that and has some context behind it because
no
that
context.
switched up so quickly.
There's no context. I generally have a headache, and I'm trying to
Damn.
find the nice in pushing past my headache. But I hope that helped you.
Thanks for joining on Space.
Yeah. So listen, rate and review the show.
Gonna get a bad rating.
Review the show. If anything, you should say that we're honest. We need more honesty in the world right now. Okay, everyone's lying, and I think it's important to be honest. And maybe they may turn around and be like, "The advice that I gave was negative." And why is that? Because they brought the negativity in the situation and just made the whole situation negative. We've had lovely questions over the last couple of weeks.
We have.
This person comes with their negativity. Anyway,
we're gonna get Leah Tylenol. I'm sorry.
I think I got the headache when fucking Riverside took $400 out of my account. That's when I got the headache. Wouldn't you get a headache?
No.
To unauthorized money out of your account?
Sure.
Yeah, so rate and review the show, and also feel free to check back soon for another episode of I thought you wanted to do a jingle. You've been texting me all week saying, let's do a jingle.
Girl, first of all, this girl really does have a headache because she's delusional now. So, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
We're going to end the show. Bye.
You're crazy.
I really do have a headache.
I'll get you some.
What the fuck is going on?